So this is a wonderful symposium. Most of you know that this is our fourth or fifth, depending on how you count. We think it's an amazing opportunity for an interaction with clinicians and scientists and therapists and patients and their loved ones and family members. And so we love this setup, and we hope you do too. I want to acknowledge some people who've helped to make this. First of all, the NIH has helped support this, and it's been very important in allowing us to do these symposia. The NINDS division within the NIH and the National Institutes of Allergy and Infectious Disorders have supported this, and we appreciate their support. Accorda Therapeutics, Amgen, Athena, Burlex, Genentech. I'm just going to run down a list here. Bear with me. Johns Hopkins Home Care, Katie Sandler, Novartis, Liberty Kane, Restorative Therapies, Serono, Teva, and of course, the Transverse Myelitis Association. Sandy is going to be your MC for much of this and is going to keep everybody on time. And part of the reason for that is we will be going back and forth between the two sessions, so as people move from one to the other, we've got to keep both sessions on track, which is a challenge. So again, I welcome everybody. I hope this is informative. I hope there's a lot of energy. I hope people interact and learn and teach, and I'll see you throughout the next couple days.
My name is Sandy Siegel, and I'm the president of the Transverse Myelitis Association. Thank you for coming to the second Rare Neuroimmunologic Disorder Symposium. Chitra is referring to these meetings as the second symposium because this is the second time we have offered concurrent science and clinical programs. This is, in fact, the TMA's fourth symposium. We also held a children's workshop in 2001 for children with TM and their families in Columbus, Ohio. Holding these symposia and workshops is a primary goal for the association. In 1998, Deanne, Paula, Debbie, Pauline, and I attended a meeting of the FOP organization. We were guests of Dr. Chuck Levy, a physical and rehabilitative medicine doctor and the person responsible for initiating the TMA Medical Advisory Board. FOP stands for Fibrodysplasia Ossificans Progressiva. This is a horrible and rare genetic disease that involves uncontrolled bone growth, which can begin in very early childhood. Only a few hundred people have this disease worldwide. FOP involves irreparable and irreversible bone growth, which can occur from an injury or any site of bleeding, as from an injection, which all children experience when they begin to receive vaccinations. Bleeding in these people initiates bone growth. By young adulthood, most people have grown a second skeleton, have lost use of their joints, and are locked into the most difficult body positions for the rest of their lives. When the FOP meetings were concluded, Pauline and I went home and cried for the next 3 days. During that weekend, we observed the exceptional courage and strength of the people in the FOP community. We became acutely aware of the importance of facilitating emotional support in a rare disease community. Living with a disorder that no one has ever heard about and that even few physicians are familiar with can be an incredibly frustrating, stressful, and isolating experience. We saw what impact being together and sharing had on these people, and it was profound. Leading experts on FOP attended the weekend meetings and made presentations on disease management and the latest research findings about FOP. It was apparent that providing this kind of education to people with this disease and their family members was so important and appreciated. Where else would these people find this information, and how else would they have their questions answered? The TMA officers made the commitment during the FOP conference that we were going to offer this important opportunity to our community. At that time, our community was composed of fewer than 200 people. We saw how the conference changed these people and their families. They left the meetings with the emotional strength that comes from sharing a rare experience with the few who truly know. They left the meetings with greater resolve to live and to find the highest quality of life possible. They left these meetings with a greater understanding of the research being done to find the causes and the potential cures for FOP, and with the hope that is inextricably bound to this understanding. And they left the meetings with an increased knowledge of what was going on in their bodies and what treatments were possible to make their bodies and their minds as healthy as possible. The first International TM Symposium was held in Seattle in 1999. People with TM and their family members came from around the world for this event. Dr. Douglas Kerr attended his first TM Symposium shortly after announcing his specialization in research and treatment of TM. Dr. Brian Weinshanker made his first public presentation on the results of his plasma exchange study. Doctors Chuck Levy, Joanne Lynn, and Jim Bowen from the TMA Medical Advisory Board attended and made presentations at the symposium. So many close and lifelong friendships were formed during that weekend. For the first time, people from the TM community had access to understandable information about their disorder and were provided with strategies for managing the difficult symptoms that come with TM. As the symposium was in Seattle, Jim Lubin was able to participate. Having Jim in the room with us over that long weekend was so special for everyone. Jim is an officer and board member of the TMA. Jim is the heart and soul of the TMA. Jim got TM when he was just 19 years old and was severely impacted at the C1, C2 level. Jim also has experienced no recovery and has remained a full quadriplegic and ventilator dependent. It is difficult to describe both the quality and quantity of work that Jim performs for the association. Jim is our information technology director. Jim has designed and manages our website and has done so for more than a decade. Jim performs all of this computer and internet work by sipping and puffing Morse code into an adaptive device. By describing his work in this manner just doesn't do justice to Jim's accomplishments. The most important goals of the TMA are to provide information to our members and to offer a network of social and emotional support. These goals are central to Jim's efforts, and his efforts go on every single day of the year. The only days Jim doesn't work on TMA activities are the days he is forced to be in bed because he has some malfunction with his chair. It is impossible for Jim to come to Baltimore, so he will not be with us this weekend. We are hoping to have Jim linked to the symposium via webcam during some of the sessions. One way or the other, Jim will be here with us because for many of us, we carry Jim with us every single day in our minds and in our hearts. Jim has provided me personally with the most incredible and intense life lessons. Jim, Paula, Steve, and Debbie and I were involved in a discussion last week. During the course of this conversation, Jim referred to his good quality of life. Nothing below Jim's neck functions. He can't breathe on his own. He can't move his arms or legs. He can turn his head only a few degrees to the left and to the right. When Jim refers to his quality of life as good, he means that life is good. He means it with enough conviction that for those who know Jim, we know that his life is good. Jim is totally filled with passion for life. He intensely loves technology. He is fascinated with it. He is stimulated by it. He is challenged by it, and he loves using it to help people. He has a strong faith and incredibly strong values. He loves movies and he loves music. He loves food. Jim really loves to eat. Jim loves his family and his friends. Jim is an incredibly social person and is involved in his social relationships all day and all night long. Jim is devoted and loyal to his family and friends. Jim is one of the most positive people I know. Jim reminds me every single day that quality of life starts in one's brain and not necessarily in one's body. Life is great, even when it totally sucks. Life can be great. Deanne, Dick, and Paula made the 1999 Symposium a reality. They bore the brunt of the planning work as they were in Seattle to make it happen. Dick and Deanne established the TMA after their daughter Katie got TM when she was 18 months old. Dick passed away this year after a long and courageous fight with mantle cell lymphoma. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Deanne, Katie, Charlie, and Brittany. Dick's loss has been so difficult for his family and friends. His memory should serve as a blessing for all of us. The TMA has grown so much since our inception just 12 years ago. We have 6,000 members from every state in the United States and from more than 80 countries around the world. We have support groups across the country, and we also have a large number of international support groups. And the TMA now advocates for people with TM, NMO, ADEM, and ON. Our support group leaders in the United States and around the world are all volunteers. In the past year, we have developed a partnership with Art Meller and the Accelerated Cure Project. By supporting and collaborating in the ACP, the TMA is committed to fostering a medical center network that will provide first-class medical care to both pediatric and adult patients with all of the neuroimmunologic disorders, and to focusing on research to understand these disorders and to ultimately find cures. The TMA continues to support TM research being conducted by the Johns Hopkins TM Center and Project Restore. The TMA is in the process of awarding Johns Hopkins a grant in order to hire a research coordinator who will be able to expand the center's ability to raise money and to apply for research grants. In November 2006, the TMA will be sponsoring a young adult retreat weekend at Victory Junction Gang Camp in Greensboro, North Carolina. In August 2007, children with TM, ADEM, and NMO and their families will be attending a week-long camp at Victory Junction. All of these opportunities are made possible through the work of the TMA officers and board. There is really no way to adequately express my gratitude for all of their efforts and accomplishments. Stephen Miller is the vice president of the TMA, Paula Lazeri is the treasurer, and Debbie Capon is the secretary, and then there is Jim. They all have TM, they have families, and they have full-time jobs. They do the work of the association as volunteers. No one is paid for anything. They work from their homes, they pay for most of their own supplies, and they pay their own long-distance phone bills and internet access. It is grueling, emotional, incredibly time-consuming work. They all suffer from various degrees of fatigue, bowel and bladder problems, muscle weakness and paralysis, spasticity, depression, and everything else that comes packaged with these disorders. And then in their spare time, they are tortured by Sandy. There is an enormous amount of work that needs to be done, and they do it. They do it without complaining, and they work so hard to do it well. They are driven by the desire to make a difference in people's lives. They understand so much better than I what experiences people have been through with these disorders, and they are motivated to do something to make people's lives easier and better. They do this enormous amount of work with little recognition and with little fanfare. Thank you, Stephen, Paula, Debbie, and Jim. I would like to thank the doctors and scientists who are going to be participating in the science program this weekend and who will be presenting in the clinical program. Thank you for your interest in the neuroimmunologic disorders and for the excellent care you provide to people in our community. All of the members from our medical advisory board will be here this weekend making presentations, running the various breakout sessions, and participating in the question and answer session on Sunday morning. Thank you, Chuck Levy, Doug Kerr, Joanne Lynn, Adam Kaplan, Jim Bowen, Frank Pitcock, Greg Barnes, and Chitra Krishnan. I would like to thank the Johns Hopkins CME office for helping with organizing and planning this symposium. And I would like to extend my most heartfelt appreciation to Chitra. Chitra bears the greatest burden for making this symposium happen. It is impossible to describe the amount of work that goes into planning, preparing for, and raising money to put on this symposium. I've done this work on a number of occasions, so I do appreciate the amount of effort and stress Chitra suffers during this process. I am always sorry that she is stuck doing all of this work, but always equally grateful that she's doing it and not me. Thank you, Chitra. You are just totally amazing and so much appreciated. And I implore all of you at some time during this symposium to personally thank Chitra for making this symposium possible for all of us. And that is the reality. This symposium would not happen without her. I would like to thank all of you for being here this weekend. I will be meeting some of you for the first time. Some of you have become dear friends of mine over the years. I know what it requires in terms of energy, complicated family issues, health issues, and travel logistics, and in terms of resources for you to be here. Being at this symposium is about taking control of your life. Being here reflects your interest in understanding what has happened to you and in developing a strategy to ensure the highest quality of life for yourself. I salute you for your effort and wonderful attitude, and I'm also grateful for your presence. You will be changed this weekend, and all for the better. Ignorance is not bliss. When Pauline got TM in 1994, life changed forever. As with most of you, she was a healthy person, lived a wonderful life surrounded by family and friends, and had a challenging and fulfilling career. In a matter of seconds, she became totally paralyzed from the waist down. From the instant of her paralysis through her incredibly long and difficult convalescence and recovery and fight for quality of life, the events and experiences through this time are not a blur. This time represents a collage of experience for us, with each piece creating an incredibly poignant memory. Some of these memories are filled with searing pain, and others with triumph and satisfaction. My life was also changed forever by TM. I know that Pauline sometimes wonders what motivates me and drives me like such a maniac to do the work that I do. And she wonders because Pauline is Pauline. For me, it is perfectly clear. This is all about Pauline. If Pauline hadn't got TM in 1994, I would be playing golf every weekend. I would probably have gotten involved in the Special Olympics, and I would be perfectly happy spending my time surrounded by family and being tormented by the Cleveland Indians and Cleveland Browns. Pauline has made enormous sacrifices in her own life in order for us to do this work. Because it is our home phone that is listed on the TMA website, Pauline is often the person who answers the phone. She spends hours and hours on the telephone providing emotional support to people from all over the world from our kitchen table. It happens over and over again that the first person a person talks to in their lives who has TM is Pauline. She is at the very center of this very emotional experience on a daily basis. It is not easy. She relives her own difficult experiences every day. She also tolerates me talking about her very personal issues in a very public way. She does so because she knows that it helps others to accept what is happening to them, and because she recognizes that this candor helps people to talk about these issues with their loved ones and with their doctors. She gives of her time and her physical and emotional energy every single day. Giving of oneself can be a physical and emotional grind, but providing help to others is also energizing, and it is a blessing. Through Pauline, I have learned about perseverance, courage, perspective, loyalty, and love. Thank you, Pauline, for allowing me to do this work. I wouldn't be doing this without you, and I couldn't do it without you. We are all going to learn so much over the next 4 days. You will meet people over the coming weekend who share the most intimate understanding of the experiences you have had since you got TM, NMO, MS, or ADEM. All of you are going to form friendships that you will have for the rest of your life. We are thrilled that you are here to be able to take advantage of this truly incredible opportunity. Thank you.